All right, everybody, welcome back to I Am Very Smart. Before we begin, only the smartest of people will check out our sponsors for the day. The like button, located right below the video, 200 IQ plays for clicking it. Also 200 IQ plays for visiting represent.com/store/Captain Sparkles for some Swick quality gaming related merchandise. Link in the description. Check it out. Let's start off with number 19 of very smart things for the last month. Not the best one out there, but I feel it's still worthy. Should I mention my 4.0 GPA in my student council speech? Will it be too braggy, or will it give me more credibility? The important part about why I'm asking if I should is because I'm a cheerleader, only a sophomore, so everyone knows me but doesn't know me, you know? If I had a 4.0, or I had a 4.0 last year, but my cheerleader best friends, they didn't. So people don't really know me as a brainiac, so should I put it there? Maybe. I guess the way the question is phrased is a little bit much. There might be a way to sneak in getting good grades into a student council speech because it seems sort of relevant to the topic, right? But you gotta find a non-pretentious way to sneak it in. I couldn't tell you what that is off the top of my head because I would like to get my own head as far away from school as I possibly can because I still have nightmares about ending up back in high school, and I prefer to just not think about it. So good luck with your speech. I want the answer, not your life story. What is sine 4 pi over 3? You only need to learn your unit circle. I'm sorry, but it's the only way you're going to make it through your pre-calculus and calculus sequences. If you don't memorize that thing as you do your derivatives and integrals, you will always struggle. Even now in my advanced differential calculus, thank goodness I got to abandon midway through that. And differential geometry classes, every single bit is based on what? Trigonometry. Do you know what? I'm feeling generous, so I will share some love. What? What did it, but then what? Why did they go into why did they go into a story about? I'm sorry that what? What? I don't get it. It does not relevant to the. This man's asked what sine 4 pi over 3. Where did this come in? He didn't need that. Dear God, what is it like in your funny little brains? It must be so boring. Loneliness is awesome though. I like being that weird guy sitting there emotionless and watching people. Isn't loneliness an emotion though? So if you're emotionless and enjoying sitting there alone, then you're not lonely. You are alone, but you're not lonely. So that seems contradictory, but I like watching people and humans in general, the lies they tell each other, them being fake. It's interesting, really. Humans are so deluded. It's fun to watch. It took a gigantic leap. It started off as like, I like people watching. It's kind of interesting to go to lunch alone every now and again and just kind of look around and see people. And then he went to, analyze the lies they're telling each other as they sit across from each other at their tables. I know the truth. I know their life stories. I know all of them better than they know themselves. I get to witness their interactions and all the deception between each other. She didn't actually go for a hike last weekend. I stalked her Instagram. She was lying about it. But she's telling it to her friend at lunch in order to seem like she has more interesting things going on. But I know better. Look at these lies they're telling each other. Not gonna lie, I'm feeling square root of -1 today. Hi, blank. Hi, how are you doing? Better than you. Okay, cool. How can you be sure? Whatever emotion you feel, I feel it +1. Emotions aren't numerical values, or at least I don't think of them that way. What if my emotion is the square root of -1? I don't know who's worse here, because green is being really annoying. So, I don't know. I'm feeling better than you, whatever emotion you feel +1. It's like, okay, it's just saying hi, but all right. But then they brought it to imaginary numbers. I mean, they probably just learned about imaginary numbers in school, and they were like, oh, this is my opportunity to bring up that I just learned about imaginary numbers. It's gonna sound super fancy. Not a lot of people know what those are, at least at my age group, so it's gonna be awesome. And then they're gonna be like, whoa, what's imaginary numbers? And then you'll get to explain what you learned, and you're gonna sound super smart, and they're gonna be like, whoa, you're so smart. To make my mental health more worse, at weddings. Someone, hey, how are you? What you been up to? Well, I started reading Bell Jar and cried in my bathroom because Plath deserves so much better than I obviously read Dickinson's work to make my mental health more worse. What can I say? How is this world a better place than when Keats actually unalive at the age of 29? The fact that absurdity is a form of theme and actually exists in between people and their own life is actually something to ponder upon. Anyway, how are you? I think I'm gonna go. Anyway, nice. Been good. Glad you're doing great with your stuff, and I'm gonna go now. Did they rehearse this beforehand? Before they went to the wedding, they're like, I can't wait for someone to come up and ask me how I'm doing so that I can recite my memorized speech. They didn't enjoy it. Well, hopefully the internet will get some pleasure out of my memorized speech that I can now type here for them to enjoy and be like, wow, the person who came up and asked you, hey, what you been up to, really missed out on an intriguing conversation. This guy is very full of himself and no one cares. Also, this was screenshotted at 9 a.m. today. There's no level of alcohol capable of covering, capable of stopping, or capable of preventing this. 750 milliliters has spoken. I remain your intoxicated intellectual, humbly honest, and inherently depressed. What? Did you just drink 750 milliliters of what kind? Please tell me it's not a 40%. Because good Lord, please no. That's not good. Don't do 700. That's a large bottle of, please tell me that was like a wine or something. A full bottle of wine is still a lot, not recommended really, but at least wine's like what, 10% at most? If it was like a whiskey or a, oh boy, don't do that. Don't do that. No, this is bad. Poor dude on Facebook can't sleep because of how smart he is. I'm thinking of more than 10 theories of how and why our universe was created and who is God, and I think of it every night and it haunts my sleep. Well, maybe it doesn't actually prevent him from going to sleep. Maybe he's just saying in dreams he thinks about it and he interprets his dreams as scientific theories. I saw it in my sleep, therefore it must be legit. Getting up in arms about a sports page, writing articles about sport. Let's not intellectualize sport as any higher societal pursuit than it is. These guys get paid phenomenally well for throwing a ball, hitting a ball, catching a ball, bowling a ball. Bowling a ball? Do bowlers get paid phenomenally? I wasn't aware, actually, that there was a lot of money in bowling, which is pretty dope if there is, actually. Can you imagine being just, like, absolutely balling out of control and people get to ask what you do and you're like, I bowl professionally. That'd be the sickest. That'd be so sick. Imagine the conversations. You'd be like, I play basketball. Someone would be like, yeah, I kind of know how that works. It's fine. You ask someone, how you balling out of control when they pull up in the Lambo? I bowl. Be like, what, you bowl? Tell me more. This is intriguing. I need to know all about this. That's dope. I've never met a bowler balling out of control, dude. That's awesome. Let's not glamorize it any more than the rudimental simplicity of what they actually do. What is this world coming to when we applaud men drinking together after mucking around? Idiocy at its zenith. How dare you create an outlet to write about sports that people are interested in? You should write about things that I'm interested in. I didn't play any sports growing up. They never interested me. I liked reading about psychology and Carl Jung. And because you write about sports, it just brings the entire world down. Yes, I could ignore it if I wanted to, but I refuse. I must bring you onto my mental level. He must be a fan of Rick and Morty. Aussie Man Reviews post, potential evidence of a new Borat being filmed on streets of LA has emerged. Most relevant. Don't see the humor in it, probably because my IQ is above 5. I don't know. Borat was pretty funny, I'm not gonna lie. Yes, it might be extremely childish humor, but it's pretty great. I got to say, my wife. You're wrong. Who cares? When you high is short and trying to be cool in public. Actually, I've never been high, so I can't really relate. But for trying to be cool, lol, even when I'm baked AF, I still outclass most people on an intellectual level. It's like, okay, cool. Nobody asked, but I'm glad you felt like you needed to share with the class that you're still very smart. Not a photo. Mount Fuji. That is a pretty swick not a photo right there. Great composition, beautiful photo. Not a photo? This is physically not how depth of field works. What does that mean? Because a series of people read what I wrote, and instead of taking the fake depth of field as an indicator to look at the light directions on the focal planes and see they're in different places, which is the actual objection to the misrepresentative nature of the image here. The sub regularly supports fake and uncredited imagery posted as real without credit or disclosure. They interpret it as meaning it's focus stacked, so that ain't photography. I'd like to clarify, I know focus stacking is, objection stands. Reward me for faking and credit for nicking art is a shorty stance. Is the light going in different directions? I have a heart. Is it? How can you tell? How do you know? I don't know. The light looks pretty uniform to me, but I guess it could be something edited together in post. It's still a cool piece of work. It had to be photos at some point, even if they're stitched together. I don't know, man. Basically another word for old-fashioned. I'm half English and was partially raised in England in a British family, so please don't judge my antediluvian mannerisms. Antediluvian. Of or belonging to the time before the biblical flood. You're saying because you were raised in the... Also, they said raised in the England? So because you were raised in the England, you have mannerisms from before Noah's Ark? Am I missing something here? What does it mean? Sorry to everybody who's watching this from the England, which is also my city. I'm sorry that you guys carry on mannerisms from pre-Noah's Ark. You should get with the modern times. Like a Lamborghini. True, I had just a mild traumatic brain injury 2 years ago. No direct head impact. Just Q contra Q. K. Down K. Big words. Whiplash. For over a year, I could barely think. Couldn't follow a conversation or write a simple email. My 144 IQ was just as useful as a Lamborghini with a fouled fuel line. I'm trying to figure out if they were doing it to try to flex being smart, or if they were doing it to try to just show an example that if you have a brain injury, no matter how smart you are, you're not going to be able to really do anything until you recover from it. I'm kind of torn on what their purpose was for, because they were saying, like, despite the fact that I'm smart, I couldn't do a dang thing when I had what apparently was a relatively minor brain injury. Is that an oxymoron? A relatively mild brain injury. Classically trained artist has a problem with college campus bridge painting tradition. Original pic showing the paint had peeled off. Forking finally. Glad I won't be assaulted this morning by this insufferable eyesore as I sip my morning joe on my routine strolls to the gardens. Frankly, as a classically trained artist, the blatant rejection of color theory demonstrated by this monstrosity is borderline nauseating. Moreover, the number of problematic aphorisms plastered onto this concrete poster board is vastly outweighed by the tolerable, albeit hackneyed slogans. And this person would have hated the tradition that my school had of going and climbing onto the roof of a local restaurant that was a couple blocks away from the school and painting the cow. It was a restaurant, and they had a cow mascot sitting on the top. It was just always a thing. The restaurant must have just been like, frick it, it's going to happen no matter what every year. So kids would always, the seniors would always go up and they'd paint the thing. So I forget what, it wouldn't always be the color scheme of the school, but they'd paint the freaking cow. I feel like this person would have a significant problem being like, wow, I have to drive by this restaurant on the way to school every single day, or I have to sip my coffee outside of this restaurant, and I have to look at this cow that doesn't even have a proper, anatomically correct color scheme. It doesn't even look like a cow. What kind of cow is green and gold? None of them. He thinks he's too smart for mainstream humor. At least during the 918 crown, they had Coke in their soda. 2020 blows. Effective immediately, we're putting the... For some reason, I feel like this might have been photoshopped. Just a hunch. I also have a feeling the next post might be somebody saying, this is fake. This couldn't be real. I don't like the joke. Actually, Coke was removed from Coke sometime in the late 1800s. Yo, have a laugh, please. What, did Pizza Hut actually reply to this? Imagine the Pizza Hut social media person being like, I will not stand for this. All right, I must correct them and make it known that it was actually in the 1800s because Pizza Hut stands with the factual integrity of the Coca-Cola brand history. I wish I could, but this sounds really stupid, but I think I'm too smart for mainstream humor. I always have this feeling to fact check short. Most memes are so basic that they seem unintelligent to me. Imagine the Pizza Hut social media person just losing it. It's been boiling over for months now, ever since The Crown began. And finally, it was a post about Coke in Coke that caused them to just lose it and go off on the internet. Like, no, I am done having fun with memes. Pizza Hut doesn't do memes anymore. Pizza Hut is intellectual, okay? Pizza Hut partners with people like Captain Sparkles, the intellectual, to make Captain Sparkles Pizza Hut pizzas for brand deals. That is Pizza Hut, and that is their brand. Yes, I did have Captain Sparkles Pizza Hut pizza as part of a brand deal, in case you missed it, many years ago. It's good times. I ate a few of them. And the top for the last month. Yeah, I am very smart. Indonesia. Outdonesia. Okay, you could also apply this to India. Indo in Indonesia comes from the Latin word for India. Thus, your meme is metaphysically, not funny, but nice try. Thanks for sharing and welcome back. It's not only not funny, it is metaphysically not funny, okay? It's another level. It just coursed through my entire body and soul, the lack of funny that was in this, and caused my eyes to just retract back into my head. I can't see, I'm blind. On that incredibly intellectual bombshell, it's time to end. Make sure to like if you liked. Check out the playlist in the description if you want to catch more of this subreddit. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell if you already are. And that's pretty much it. Represent.com/r store / I almost said represent.com/r/Captain Sparkles. Mixing up websites here. I'm gonna go study antediluvian tendencies. Goodbye.